So, according to my fellow tech YouTuber friend MKBHD, he crowned the Google Pixel 8 as the phone of the year just last year. So easy, right? Well, after testing this phone for 3 months, I found 8 pros and 8 cons on the Google Pixel 8. So let's start with the build quality. Now the Google Pixel 8 really stands out with its sleek premium design. It is super easy to hold, and the best part is that it is also IP68 water and dust resistant, so you can use it without a case or worry less about it getting dirty easily or water damage. So for me, it has been my worry free and go everywhere buddy. Then the colors are premium looking, especially this grey, which looks like a darker version of the iPhone 15 Pro's natural titanium, which I really love. And this brings us to our first con, however, because the glossy finish can be quite slippery. For example, I was using this at the gym the other day and the phone came close to slipping out of my hand as my hands were a little sweaty. So it's not ideal to hold, especially if your hands are wet, so keep that in mind. Now I personally prefer a matte finish on a smartphone, but let me know what you think. That at this point in time, do you prefer matte or glossy finish on your smartphone? For me, it's matte all the way, my friends. Then pro number 2, the screen looks stunning. The colors pop, they are super accurate, and this 120Hz OLED panel is a total game changer, especially for this size of the screen. But the bezels though, they are like a throwback to the year 2000s. Thick, clunky, and just quite ugly. Then pro numero 3. Camera-wise, the Pixel snaps some great shots with the classic crisp Google Pixel look. It doesn't overdo with the colors, especially on the saturation like some other smartphones out there, and the overall dynamic range was amazing too, even for the front cameras. And what's interesting is that even there's no autofocus, it still turned out great. Even when it comes to the portrait selfie too, the video stabilization at 4K video recording was good, so was the overall quality as well, even with the limitation of 1080p with the cinematic blur video recording. But let's talk about con number 3, because the portrait mode on humans and on subjects was not as consistent. Sometimes it was decent and most of the time it was not. As you can see on the age detection was not really great at the edges of the hair and sunglasses too. Then there's no pro mode either, which is a bummer because I think that Google decided to only think that the Pro only deserves for the Pro level of the Google Pixel 8. Also, the ultra-wide lenses does not shine in low light. You'll notice the quality drop if you switch between the main camera and the ultra-wide lenses. So if you want to get a better or higher quality pictures at night, just use the main camera instead of the ultra-wide lenses. Then as for zooming, a dedicated telephoto lens would have been a great addition. I mean, we all don't need to zoom across the neighborhood or across the moon. But a 2x telephoto lens would have been sweet, especially considering the price. What do you guys think? Switching gears to the good stuff, the Google Pixel 8 stereo speakers are a top-notch. They've got this perfect balance of bass and treble, something that most phones just can't nail, especially with this compact size. It packs a punch like a chili padi. To my Malaysian friends, I'm sure you know what that means. But to all my global viewers, hang tight, I'll explain what chili padi means over here. Now, if you want a written recap of everything that I said in this video, you can always head on to our website at www.adamlobo.tv for a written version of this whole review. Links will be down below. Alright, let's dive into... reviewers always say dive into. Let's dive into the coolest part of the Google Pixel 8, which is the AI features. First up, there is a thing called Best Take, where it allows you to pick the best expressions from your photo, even change your facial expression artificially using other photos with a similar type of shots. Now, how cool is that? So, if you are someone who loves to take pictures and you feel like you're not the best at taking pictures, well, this is a game changer because no retakes are needed. Then there's the new improved Magic Eraser. And here is where if you don't like something in the background of your photo or in the photo itself, just erase it. Then there is Magic Editor, which is an AI-powered tool that allows repositioning of a subject on the picture taken, which does work very well, especially if the subject is very prominent in the picture. Next, there is Audio Magic Eraser 2 that wipes out background noise in videos, and here is a sound test before and after the Audio Magic Eraser. Yo, so this is an audio eraser test. I am on the 18th floor, so I'm quite high up with a main road down there. So here's an audio test, test 1 2, test 1 2, Test 1, 2. But there is a small catch on one of the AI feature, which is the AI enhanced call screening for spam prevention, which is only available in the US and certain countries. Not a huge deal for me, but of course worth mentioning. Then typing on this phone, it's a dream, like seriously. It is unmatched in the Android world. It is so responsive and quick that my fingers just fly through the screen with hardly any mistakes. Then the haptic feedback, simply the best. I even dare to say that it is better than typing on an iPhone. And hey, if you think differently, let's chat about it at our Discord server, which I'll leave a link down below for us to debate further on this. Next, since you're getting Android from the mothership Google itself, it has up to 7 years of software support, which has the longest compared to any other Android phone out there. But let's hope that Google lives up to this promise, yeah? Because remember Google Stadia? Next, let's talk about the battery. The Google Pixel 8 has a 27-watt wired charging and power delivery 3.0, juicing up to 50% in 30 minutes in flat. Now, this is a really nice bump from last year's Pixel 7, which charged at 20 watts. And what's interesting is that the Google Pixel 7 also had the same amount of charge speed at the same amount of time. So it seems like we're getting more power efficient this time around. And this is also because the battery size have gone up to 4,575 milliamps from last year's 4,355 milliamps. However, the battery life is still not great. Because I got an average of around 3 hours plus of screen on time both on Wi-Fi and mobile data at 10% battery with dark mode turned on. Finally, let's talk about money. Is the Google Pixel 8 worth your hard-earned cash? Well, since we can't get it directly here in Malaysia, I've decided to convert the price from Singapore's currency, since they are our neighboring country, of course. It starts at Singapore dollars 1,099, which is about 3,825 ringgit, or about USD 833. Now, with that kind of money, you could just snag a Samsung Galaxy S23 5G and save money, the Huawei Mate 50 Pro, or even the Nothing Phone 2 with more savings in your pocket. And speaking of which, check out my review of the Nothing Phone 2 against other flagship smartphones over here.